Welcome to How Now, the podcast where we talk about how to live in the now. And here's your host, Kim Martin Raymond.
Peace, love, and light, and welcome to this edition of the How Now podcast, where we talk about how to live in the now. I am your host, Kim Martin Raymond, and I'm a minister, spiritual life coach, holistic nutritionist, author, and founder of Redefining You LLC, where I help my clients to realign themselves, mind, body, and spirit. Well, welcome to this evening's show. If this is your first time joining us on the How Now podcast, please go to my website, www.hownowpodcast.com. Pick your favorite podcast platform and be sure to like, follow, share, and subscribe. And also be sure to click the notification bell so you know what's happening in the now. You can also scroll to the bottom of the page on the website and click on the banner for this week's show, and it will take you to the How Now YouTube channel where you can like, follow, share, and subscribe there as well. You can also follow some of my playlists like Tuesday, and also find out things that are happening in my now. And again, that's www.hownowpodcast.com. Enjoy the show. All right. So tonight we are going to be talking about reset your mind, reset your health. Okay. And when we talk about resetting, when we talk about getting to a different station in our lives, and when we talk about our toolboxes, okay, we know that that's the mantra for this year. We're talking about toolboxes and things that we can do to mentally, physically, and spiritually prepare ourselves for the things that are going on. And that's important in our wellness journey. And we know that each section of our lives require different tools. But one tool that's consistent between all three of them is the mindset, making sure that we have our mind set for the things that we're trying to conquer, or the things that we're trying to achieve. Okay, so when we think about resetting our mind, we're talking about clearing our thoughts. We're talking about letting go of negative or stressful thinking. Okay, we're also talking about changing our patterns, things that we may be doing that are not serving us. So it's important for us to continually be doing things to renew our mind. And that comes with education, that comes with knowledge. We can't do right until we learn better. We do better when we learn. We do better when we know more. So once we do that, then we can get to that place of healing, or begin to get on that path of healing. So we're going to be talking about that with regards to our health. Okay. And to help me to get through the weeds and talk about all things about resetting our mind and resetting our health is my handsome guest over here. Okay. And so, as is customary with the How Now podcast, I'm going to have him to introduce himself at this time. Take it away.
Hey everybody, I am Coach G. Gary Osmond is my real name. Most people refer to me as Coach G. You know, I am just turned 56 years old as of July the 4th. I was out there at the Essence Festival having a good time. You know, I am a supervisor at Eastman Chemical. I've been doing that for almost going on 27 years, but I also started a fitness brand called Bayou Fitness. And I'm out here really to help a lot of people, like she said, reset your mind and reset your health.
Yes, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening and for helping us to figure out how to get to that place of resetting our minds. So it's always easy when we talk about our personal story. So talk about how you got into fitness. Were you always a person who was into health, or was that something that came at a turning point?
Yes, actually, it came at, I would say, in my late 20s, you know, and really, well, I'm a basketball athlete. I played basketball on a high school, college level. Uh, was going overseas, but that didn't happen. You know, I stayed to help my mom, and I graduated from the University of Southwestern Louisiana, and I got an industrial technology degree in safety, and that's when I started working in a plant. So what happened during that time, like most men, and this is what I share with them now. If it ain't broke, we don't fix it. We go
Right.
on, we go on. why I tell people to have physicals and stuff. So, even though I had insurance and all these things, I wasn't, you know, I was young. I was playing basketball 7 days a week, active, very mobile. And by having that physical at work because it was mandatory, I learned that I had an enlarged heart and borderline blood pressure, and they wanted to pre-diagnose me with hypertension. Well, that didn't sit well with me. And at that time, I was having an EKG, and I was just moving, going. And they thought that once you sit down at rest, your heart rate's supposed to come down at rest. And, they were looking at me like I should have been fainting or something. So what scared me about that is a lot of times people go on and not knowing what's going on with them, and then something happens, stroke or something of that sort, and they always say natural causes. So that was the turning point for me. Going to my doctor, wanted to put me on medication, which I didn't want. I didn't understand. So I researched, I learned a lot, and that's what really birthed, Bayou Boy Fitness some years after. And then as, I would say as my mind changed by educating it, I started to learn. I had a why. You always got to have a reason why you want to do something that keep you focused, because I didn't want to be on blood pressure medication. I seen my family, many people, I didn't want to be treated. I want to be cured if possible. So the only way I think to do that is you got to learn, change eating, change stuff that causes it. So that was started that journey. And many years after now, my body changed for all these years because my mind changed. And that's what I came up with Bayou Boy Fitness. Reset your mind, reset your health.
Yeah, I mean, and that's awesome because just like you said, here it was, you were a young man, like you said, in your 20s. And so the diagnosis came in your 20s. Yeah, and so you see what I'm saying? To be a young man, just like I can imagine, you're not understanding because just like you're saying, there are so many young Black men who were athletic in school or who were, even if you weren't, you were running around the neighborhood, doing all kinds of things. And so you get to the point where you're like, there's this, I'm invincible, especially at that age. And then to have that type of diagnosis, and just like you said, it's difficult when you don't know, when you just keep going, and then all of a sudden, it's not until a life incident happens that all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait a minute, now I have to do something about it. And we have to learn, to change our mindset there, where we have to be proactive and keeping up with our physicals. Most of the time, we tend to do our physicals through school, and then once school is over, we don't go to the doctor anymore because, like you said, unless something is wrong, unless you break something, you fall, you just, you go on about your life and you're just saying, well, I feel good. But just like you're saying, here's something that's happening internally that you can't see. And I think that's something that's important for people to keep in mind, that sometimes we can't see on the outside. We may look great on the inside and feel like crap. I mean, look great on the outside and feel like crap on the inside, but nobody can see that, So I think it's definitely important that we get to a point where we say, all right, even though I feel okay, I'm just going to, even if it's just that annual checkup, let me just go one time a year.
That's right.
For them to check things like that, because that's something that, you can't see your heart being enlarged on the outside of your body.
Yes.
So, I mean, and what were some of the symptoms that you were seeing when you finally went to the doctor to realize that your heart was enlarged?
Well, like I say, I didn't have any. I just was going and going, and by, at working in the plant, it's mandatory for the emergency response teams and fire brigades and different things that they got to make sure you're medically fit to be on those teams, because you got to wear respirators and certain things, to protect yourself. So that was just like if you play basketball, it's mandatory that you got to have a physical. So that what drove me to go have that done. And then that's when I found out. So I could, if I wouldn't have did that, I probably never would have went, because I never really had no symptom for it, like dizziness or lightheadedness. And that's the scary part, why I was saying that I could have been lifting weights or doing something, and because you had this happen to kids and stuff now, in the heat and extreme exercises, So that was really made me do it. And the other part of mindset, like I'm saying, sometimes you got to slow down and start thinking. Like I was young, you know, well, they say you're active and you're young, why is this happening? So I'm
Right,
start thinking it has to be what I'm eating. You know
right,
what I'm saying? So something
right,
got to register there. And
right.
I think it was my body hold fluids. So fluid, it's multiple ways that can increase your blood pressure. And I think fluids, because they wanted to put me on a diuretic medication to get rid of
Mhm.
the fluids, you know,
Right.
and that's what I found out a lot of sugars, a lot of things. I started learning about sugar and all these things after playing ball, drinking all these
Right.
Powerade, quick kicks, and all
Right.
this stuff.
Right.
It never led to a lot, of my problem. So once I
Yeah.
changed those things, a lot of stuff went away. And over the years, just being consistent with it and learning more and more, this is lifelong learning. You always
Yes.
got some more you can learn.
That's
And
right.
and like I tell people, I can show pictures of myself at that age, 20 something years old. And even though I was in shape, body wise, I wasn't as muscular and lean as I am now through learning.
Right.
And I'll share more about that, you know,
Right.
a little
Well,
bit.
yeah, I love that you say it's about learning because it's
Yeah.
interesting. Sometimes when we go to the doctors and they give us the diagnosis, they give us a diagnosis and then they give us things to mask that diagnosis.
Hmm.
Pills and things that are going to help to curb that, but they don't always tell you what you should do
Yeah.
with that information. Just like you said,
Right.
you said when they told you that, you said you didn't want to be on the medication, so you started
Yeah.
researching. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? I feel like when you giving me that prescription form,
Yeah.
you should be giving me a list of things that I could be doing to help get better. I don't
Yeah.
want to mask what it is that I have. I don't want to put a band-aid over it. What
Right.
I want to do is I want to have a list of things that I can do. I remember when I was diagnosed with diabetes back in
Hmm.
2000,
Hmm.
I walked out there like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? And I was scared to eat anything because I was like, oh my goodness, if I eat this, it's gonna make my
Yeah.
blood sugar go up.
Yeah.
They have to equip you.
Yeah.
And sometimes the doctors don't equip you with that. They're quick to put a paper in your hand, but that paper is just the prescription. It is not the solution to the problem.
Right.
And so I'm glad that you mentioned that. It's about sometimes taking on, we have to be our biggest advocates
Right.
when it comes to our health, because sometimes they may not tell us what to do, but we have to be willing to take the onus to look it up.
But another part of this, and this is not saying nothing negative to a doctor or anything, but
Right,
another part of mindset, we growed up that they are the professionals.
right,
We listen to the doctors. That's always
right,
been told to us. Yeah.
right,
And then we tend to put all the trust there and don't ask questions. You got to
right,
realize that they there for us. We don't have to do everything. You got a
right,
question, you get a second opinion.
right.
You get, and then for the first time for me going there, I'm just giving you my experience.
Yes,
I go in this room, sit for a little, and then they call me in the back. I go in there, the nurse do the preliminaries, and then the doctor come in. They didn't even ask your name, nothing. You write a prescription.
right,
I had to slow them down. Hold on, doc. But they are not trained as nutritionists. Not all of them.
right,
They just
right,
treat. They train to treat.
right,
So that's just how it is. But it's still our responsibility to
yes,
question things and try to learn, because they got a whole lot of people in that waiting room. So unless
right,
you a real high patient, it's numbers. They got
right,
to keep moving,
right,
and that's how it is. The
right.
world
You
is a
make a
business,
point.
man. I always say the world is a business.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And
Yeah,
it is unfortunate because, like you said, it does become a numbers game. And just like you said,
yeah,
it's no this because it takes a lot to be a physician, and we
yeah,
respect
yeah.
the profession,
That's right.
but at the
Right,
same time, we want to make sure that we're walking away with the tools that we need and and,
right,
and, and asking the questions. And sometimes you don't know what to ask because you haven't researched anything. So you don't know what to ask until certain symptoms come up or until something happens, then you can say, but we have to start getting into that mindset of,
right.
all right, I'm going to the doctor. Let me write a list of things that were going on or things that I've experienced. So that way, when I go in, I can have a conversation. And it's like you said, they're quick to get you out that door. But if I made that co-payment of $40, I'm going to ask you $40 worth of questions.
Right.
That's just me. I'm one of those people. I'm going to ask the questions, and if I don't know what to ask, then I'm going to research what are some of the things that are common to this, and what are your recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't ask the questions, then we walk away just as confused as we did when we walked in.
Right.
So,
And sometimes you just can't. Uh, I understand it got to be treated to turn, but this is another thing. I said I got me a blood pressure cuff, something that I can take my regular pressure myself. I'm
right,
gonna make changes because sometimes when people make changes, of the eating habits, if you're taking medicine, and you're making the changes, now could become too low.
right,
And sometimes people relate to the last thing they done, and they'll stop the eating and think it's, you know what I'm saying, and it's a
right.
confusing thing. But
It
that's how
is.
you could get weeded off. But most people, they don't expect people to make those changes,
Right.
or do the thing. So I was once again the mindset. I was determined that I didn't. That's not because I seen my mom. I seen everybody, a lot of people in my family for years, multiple, and it's never healed. So it got
Right.
to be some other way that I just wanted to learn a little bit
Yeah.
different to break
Right. Because you want
the
right.
generational thing. You
There
know,
you have it. There
yeah,
you have it. And I think that's important too. Sometimes we don't take the time to look at our family history. And
yeah,
it's not until we're diagnosed, then all of a sudden we look back and say, oh, wait a minute. My mama had that, my grandmama had it, my granddad had it,
yeah,
my uncles, aunts had it. Then all of a sudden you see, and then it's like, wait a minute, there was a pattern here all the time. And you think
yeah,
that just because you're healthy at the time that is going to skip over you. Now it's
yes,
interesting because sometimes it works in reverse. I had a
yeah,
unique situation because
yeah,
when I was diagnosed with diabetes, okay, nobody in my family had it. And so I was like,
yeah,
somebody has to have it. And then a year after my diagnosis, my dad was diagnosed with
yeah,
diabetes. So that was just an anomaly. That's not something that happens all the
yeah,
time where it happens backwards like that. But usually it's just a matter of sometimes taking the time to look at your
right,
family history and seeing things that are consistent in your family and saying, okay, let me make sure that I'm doing things to avoid
avoid,
this
yeah,
diagnosis happening to me because I see it's a
yeah,
pattern in my family. So it's
yeah,
important. I mean, I think it's great that you bring that up because
mm,
it does. Most of the time you can see it within your own family, and
right,
then you say, no, I don't want that to happen to me. You see people are passing at an early age or that
mm-hmm,
is consistent. You have to
mm-hmm,
check those things
yeah,
out.
take those things out.
Yeah, it
Yes,
is important. It is important. So, we talked about you know, you're coming up with that diagnosis, talked about some of the things that you were doing to start changing your mindset with regards to health. So did it start with just the food items, or did you start with the exercise, or was it a combination of both?
actually, it was a combination of both, and it was just trying to figure it out. But I literally tried to make sure I was already exercising. So
Mhm.
that's why I tell people, that 80-20 rule, because I'm telling you, I was playing basketball like 7 days a week. And, back in the day, I'm 56. So back then we were very
Right.
active.
Yes.
We was riding bikes and,
Right.
things kids don't do today.
Right.
So the exercise was there. So that's why
Right.
I'm saying it had to be the foods, and then that's when I started learning about the sugars and the artificial sweeteners and all these additives and reading ingredients, in food that it triggers the eating habits.
Yes.
More sugar spikes and not controlling your blood insulin levels and things like that. It was drive you to the eating behaviors and the hormones, uncontrollable eating and things like that. And once I learned, I started to see my body change, increasing
Yeah.
your protein intake every meal, muscle burn fat, and
Yeah.
and and that's what I'm saying. Once I learned all those things for many years, and now we got social media and stuff. So I
Right.
always say documentation beat conversation. That's why I
Yes.
always, when people say, "Man, he raise his shirt up, he showing off." No, I'm just showing you as all these years the consistency. Because even in the control of midsection area, your brain or your body, I say, is your gut health. Because here is the central organ, the core of your body. And that's where all the problems start. The digestive system, whether your kidney function well, heart disease, and certain things. And then when you have a high BMI, you don't have to be overweight, but if you got a high body mass index of the muffin tops and body fat in the midsection, that means you can have some type of obesity related illness. Mine at the time was high blood pressure, going to high blood pressure. It could be diabetes, it could be cholesterol issues, multiple things. Cancer, it leads to that. And a lot of stuff leads to eating. How are we fueling our bodies? And that's what I want to learn more about. And that's how my body changed. And over the years, as I continue to get better, I had more, and I was working in a plant, working 12-hour shifts. I keep having people requiring me to train and asking me questions. When I travel, people ask me a lot of questions, and a lot of people didn't believe how. And that's why, once again, I started the Bayou Boy Fitness Group page, and I really was starting helping people. And I also have an online store that I share to help people, with the nutritional things. That convenience is what took a lot of us out of in the bad health. And this is why I say that, because I used to tell my mom and all of them, the mindset, we forget what we used to do. A lot of cooking used to come from food from the earth, the garlic, the bell peppers, the onions, all that stuff y'all used to cut up and season your food and freeze what you didn't use, all natural, right? And it got a benefit to the body. Every one of those things I named, even fruits, got a benefit to the body that it gives you. But when it's hard to step on toes. But when we move to Tony Satchel, Slap Your Mama, all this accent, all these different additives that makes the food taste good, those chemicals, and that will create inflammation and uncontrollable eating. It's just that you got to find better brands and stuff. But a lot of salt additives and sugar additives and stuff, that what took us to the bad health, because we got away from more natural stuff to process.
Right. But just like you said, we have to go back to the basics. We have forgotten, just like you said, I'm 54, so we're right around that same age, and where mama and them, grandma and them used to cook. They used to cook, like you said, they would go to the store and get fresh fruits and vegetables. Now, so many things are chemically changed, so many additives, and so many of the things that they use to enhance the longevity of those fresh fruits and vegetables are harming us too. So there's so many things that we have to be weary of, and that we have to be aware of when we're talking about the making sure that we're eating those fresh fruits and vegetables. That like you said, convenience has taken a toll. You said you worked a 12-hour shift. It's difficult to work a 12-hour shift and then come back and talk about you're going to cut up some fruits and vegetables when you can go down there to McDonald's or anywhere else and just go and grab a burger or go and grab something quick. So yes, convenience, we have to get back out of that mindset of, it's more convenient for me to take a day and pre-plan some meals and then put them in the fridge or put them in the freezer where I can just go and grab for them, and that be the convenience. We have to redefine what convenience is. What convenience is. Convenience is me being able to access something quickly. That does not mean that thing that we're accessing quickly has to be something that is bad for our health. Just like you go and grab an apple. That's convenient. Go and grab that apple. It does not have to be that Snicker bar. It doesn't have to be anything else. It can be something that is we have to change, like I said, what the definition of convenience is and what convenience looks like. It does not mean fast food. It just means something that we can access quickly. We can access fruit quickly if we have it available.
Right. That's right.
So that's part of the mindset, like you said, that you're talking about, being able to get to that space of saying, okay, what's going to be best for me? What's going to be best for my body? So like you said, and another important thing that you said is, it's not just about the exercise. Yes, it's good to move our bodies. That's important. That's an important part. And that's probably what kept your diagnosis from being worse than it was, because at
Right.
least you were being active. Because you imagine if you weren't, if you
Hmm.
were just sedentary, it may
Hmm.
have compounded and it could have been far worse. You could have had a heart
Right.
attack or
Right.
anything else, so the activity helps, but it's
Right.
not the end all to be all, right?
Right. That's right. And that's why you might have heard that day I was talking with on the live or the Zoom when Danielle did the exercise that she brought me on.
That's the thing,
My main three things I talk about with people is this is the way to change the mindset is, mindset, meals, which is fueling your body, and movement. If you do those three things, you can stay out of trouble.
I say
And,
say it
and,
one
and
more time. Three
mindset,
things again.
meals, and movement. Those are the things you gotta do because people make things difficult. They think it's hard when we get ready to want to make a health pivot or make a change. A lot of people think I gotta join a gym, hire a trainer. And I see many people in the gyms for a long time that don't get the results they're really looking for. They quit. They got a lot of these gyms going to the $10 membership because people don't have much skin in the game. They see $10 not, but when they got a bunch of people paying $10 that not going, they racking up, they making money. And what I try to tell people is the biggest part is the mindset first. You got to be committed. You got to have a why you want to do it, and you got to be strong in your commitment to do it, and then be ready to change your eating habits. And you can learn this stuff, and then move your body. You can walk, do ride your bike, push your stroller. If you do those things, you're gonna. I help more people got results without even helping them, without even hitting the gym. Now, if you can add strength training to it to help muscle, that's gonna help you even more. But you can get started off just simple, just making some changes, because we spend money on things that we and like I say, gym membership. Some people have 2 and 3 that don't even go.
Right.
you
And that's
know.
the thing. Right.
So I just want to help people to understand is ways to do it. You just got to start. You really, these social media, just like Danielle, when you talking about 30 people she had on that thing, you move your body. If you start locking in on making some eating, you're gonna get results.
Right, right. And people have to understand that it's a process. It's
It's a
not something that
process.
happens it's not something that happens overnight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
When you talk about when you found out about your diagnosis, how long did it take before you started seeing some of the results once you started changing your eating habits?
Man, it because I'm just saying I didn't go cold turkey.
Right,
Just say, but
right.
I knew
It's
I'm gonna
important.
be honest. Like I read some books and stuff like things but I know artificial sweeteners and a lot of these things, the sugar. Because a lot of times people don't resonate drinking as eating.
Right.
But that's a lot of that
But
even
you're
worse. Like
getting
if
your
you're drinking
calories.
2 or 3 cups of coffee in the morning with sugar in it, and then you're drinking sweet tea, and then even if you're drinking fruit juice, then you're eating carbs, and,
Right.
and then if you got a job that you're not moving around and sitting at, you can put a lot of body fat on. You
Absolutely.
know what I'm saying? And weight, and that's the kind of things I'm trying to retrain people on, and the way we pair foods and stuff, spaghetti, corn,
Right.
garlic bread, you know,
Right.
changing
Right.
some of this stuff up. Or you don't have to eat the Big Mac. I mean, the burgers, fries, and big sodas.
Right.
Just change to fruit, change to something else. And
Right.
that's what I work with people on, just making those changes. Because in the beginning, it's about resetting your metabolism
Yes.
and getting away from a lot of the sugars. And you find that you won't even crave a lot of these things,
Right.
and adding protein,
But
and
just
that's where I
understand.
help people, as they lose weight, by increasing the protein, you're trading fat with muscle. And that's how, because when people go on these crash diets and a lot of things, you can lose a lot of weight fast, but you lose a lot of muscle. And that's why you end
Right.
up with the skin. But if you go
Right.
slower, you can have even the non-scale victories. The scale might not move, but you still could be moving with losing body fat.
Right, right, and that's what people need to understand. And like you said, it's a process. It's not
It's a
something that
process.
happens overnight. It goes over time. And just like you said, you
Yeah.
may have non-scale victories. I love that you say that
Yes.
because
Yes.
non-scale victories are important because some people are a slave to the scale. They'll step on that scale every day, and if it doesn't
Right.
move, then they give up. but they
Yes.
don't realize that sometimes if they're making changes within their body, especially if they're doing strength training and things of of that nature, then what happens is you're exchanging that fat for muscle, and the muscle is
Right.
going to be,
It's way
is
more.
going to weigh more. And so
Right.
you may not see that. You see some people that are on there and they'll be like, this is what 200 pounds look like. And you thinking that 200 pounds makes them look like a circle, and they
Yeah.
look like a Coke bottle, because it just depends on what's happening. And again, it goes to that whole thing of certain things are happening on the inside that you may
Inside.
not readily
Yeah.
see on the outside right away. It
Right.
takes it gets to that process before, it takes time to get to that space where you finally see some of those results apparent on
Yeah.
the outside. They talk about things, as a holistic nutritionist myself thing, and we talk about visceral fat, and you talk about
Hmm. Hmm.
subcutaneous fat, you talk about different types of fat.
Hmm.
Sometimes those things are going on the inside of your body and you don't
Yes.
readily see them on the
Right.
outside. But you have to take the steps. And I think the biggest thing is not to try to do so much so fast. I like that you
Right.
said that in the beginning, you did a lot of reading to try to
Hmm.
educate yourself, because what happens is some people just look at another person and go, wow, you lost a lot of weight. You look great. Well, what did you
Hmm.
do? And then you start rattling off all the things that you're doing, and that person goes, oh no, that's just too much. I can't do that. And then they run the other way.
Yeah.
It's too
Yeah.
much. It's
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
much. Like you said, start with one thing.
Start
Start
with
with,
one thing.
like you said, instead of eating the
Yeah.
burger and the fries, eat the burger and the fruit.
Right.
Start making
Right.
small changes first, because when you try to do too much too fast, you're going to quit
You're
before you
gonna quit.
even
Right.
before you even begin.
They get frightened, like they think they got to change everything, but it really don't. It just changing ingredients, changing the way you do things. It's a lot of stuff you still can have, But I tell you this, people don't realize how food has changed over the years that we didn't even realize. I tell
Right.
people I used to drink milk, and I can't drink it no more. Why?
Yeah.
Because over the years, back in the day, milk, bread, all that stuff didn't used to last a week if you didn't eat it, mold or
That's right.
sour.
That's
But
right.
now it lasts for months, you know, without that. So it's the
All the
additive. So
additives.
that's what I'm saying. The other part of you just got to start thinking. What are we doing if we drinking diet sodas? We doing this stuff and we not losing weight.
Right.
Every action you need to see a reaction to it.
Right. Right.
You want to see some results.
Right.
And that's all it took for me. I started off for water. I used to drink a lot of just juices and stuff. I go to Crystal Light. I started flavored water till I weeded myself off. It just
Right.
find other brands or ways to do it. You don't
Right.
have to go cold turkey. It's hard to do that way, but if you
Right.
change some of the eating and increase you'll find yourself more satisfied. Fiber, stuff in the
Right.
body, it will soothe those cravings because you didn't
Yeah.
have those sugar spikes. Really controlling your insulin levels in your food eating, that will
Yeah.
really you'll find yourself not even craving certain foods.
Right. And I think it's also important, like you said, Sam, for those who are not sure, to document what you're eating. Take a week and
Document what you eat.
document
Yes.
everything that you eat. And then sometimes when you see it on the paper, you go, oh my goodness, I used to eat
Yes.
all of that. I was talking with some friends not too long ago, and talking about how I used to eat and what a day in the life of how I was eating. And when I rattled off all the things that I would eat in a
Hmm.
day, I was like, oh my goodness, I ate enough
Hmm.
for a week in just that
Hmm.
one day. And I was doing that. I was doing that every single day. And so sometimes it's not until you see it written down that you're like, oh, I didn't
Right.
realize I ate that much. And then if
Yes.
you have a job that only gives you 30 minutes to eat, and you're wolfing down the food, your
Yes.
brain hasn't had a chance to register that you ate before it's time to go back into work, and then you find yourself
Yeah.
snacking, and you heading to the vending machine and getting chips and stuff because your body hadn't had time to realize that it ate already.
And that's another thing that really gets people in trouble is the snacking. Because if you're snacking on stuff, like I say, the sugar, those are things that triggers that, you can mess around and eat a whole bag of something,
Right.
because
Serving
you're
sizes.
never full. But I
Right.
always, my general thing, I try to tell people, like, increase protein in every meal. Get protein in every meal. Even like if I go places, and that's the menu, that was on the menu, this is what being cooked, even at a barbecue anyway. I'm gonna pick out the protein first, and I'm gonna eat that, because you get full quicker. But
Right.
a lot of people attracted to the carbs and stuff, but that's the stuff that put the weight on it and the sugar spike. So I just look through the menu, eat enough of this, but keep the protein high, minimize your sugars and carbs, and you'll start seeing yourself going the right way.
Right. And that's smart because that's true. Those are wonderful little tips, little, you know, things that we can start to put into our daily lives, into our daily
Yes,
schedules, or every time we eat, like you said, put the protein first, eat that first. I'm a
yes,
big proponent of, I travel a lot for work. And so what
yes,
I'll do is if I know we're going to a particular restaurant, I'll go ahead and look at the menu before I get there. Because
yes.
sometimes what happens is, you get up in there and you're with the friends and
Yeah,
everybody else, and then you see
that's
them
right.
ordering all this stuff. You know, I don't even bring me the menu. Because when I start flipping through it, then all of a sudden I'm gonna be like, wow, them French fries look good. Wow, that looks wow, everything looks great. So then all of a sudden you start making, not the best choices. But if you already look at that menu before you go, then all of a sudden you just say, all right, I already know what I'd like. I'd like this, that, put this, put the seasonings or whatever on the side. And that way I can control how much goes on there. So it doesn't come like it's in a, I'm sorry, like it's in a sea of butter, put that butter on the side so I can control how much I'm putting in there. And then that way, that kind of avoid. So we have to start, being wise about, the choices that we make and how we're
Right,
making those
right,
choices. And then eventually they'll become habit.
right.
It takes what? It takes 66 days. People say sometimes it takes 21. It takes 66 days
Yeah,
actually to create a habit. And
yeah.
so, if we start taking some of those tools and those little things, then we can say, oh, okay, now I'm doing a little better, and not beat ourselves up when we don't.
But something you mentioned, and this is a huge part of the mindset that you got to be ready for. Is what you just said about your friends, putting yourself around the right people, because when you're at work, if people not on that journey, they're gonna try to
Right.
keep you where they at.
That's
Even when
right.
you get results, girl, how much you trying to lose? You don't need to lose no more weight. My sister saw that. She saw more and more what I was talking about her when she started. She's a little bit older than me. She 57 going on 58. She started at the age of 45, works out like 4 days a week, her and my brother. Tremendous transformation. She wasn't overweight, but she was bigger than she wanted to be. And she was misdiagnosed. I used to tell her
Mm,
about doctors the same thing, just be paying attention. And pharmacist called it. He called it to gain weight. And she came to Big Brother. That's why I'm always talking,
right.
the same thing, to everybody, it's always learning. But the thing is, she saw what I was saying. Like, even the younger people, going to a family reunion or going, people start saying things, and some people it works on them and they'll
Hmm.
stop, but
Right.
you got to keep pushing through because you got to do it for you. You competing, you looking at the mirror. It's all about you. If you
I
make the
love that.
change, then you got to keep
Right.
moving.
Right. And just like you said, that's critical that you're competing against yourself, not
Right,
against other people, because you
right,
don't have the same
right,
genetics, body
right. That's right.
structure, things like that. I can be a certain weight, and my friend and I are the same weight. She's ex-military. It looks far
Yeah,
different on her than it does on me. She's
yes,
not as busty on the top. She's a little more, she has more hips and thighs. I don't.
yes,
I'm the other way. And so it's not going to look the same. So just like you said, you have to be in competition with yourself because your body is unique to you. There are
yeah,
going to be different variables. There are going to be some things that may be similar, and then there are going to be some things that are
yeah,
going to be different. And so, you have to be willing to do that. But you made a very, very valid point about people because people can sabotage your success.
yeah. That's
You
right.
know, if you go like perfect example, we're talking about the 4th of July. Okay. You know, people was like, oh, it's barbecue. Say, oh, mac and cheese. People gonna have
Yeah,
ribs, people gonna have
yeah,
chicken.
yeah,
So my whole thing is if there are things that I know that I don't want to eat,
Right.
brought with me things that I knew that I could eat. So,
Yeah.
instead of bringing the rolls or bringing the cookies and the cakes,
Yeah. Yeah.
what a fruit tray and put some cheese on there and made it look like a flag and it was cute. And
Yeah.
so it was just, but I got to eat the fruit and cheese and things that I
Mhm.
enjoy without having to feel like, oh man, I didn't bring
Yeah.
anything or I don't have anything. So I guess I'm gonna just default to eating this whole, I'm just gonna dive into this bag of potato chips.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
and, and
Yeah.
then I think it's important that we start to change our mindset with regards to food being the centerpiece of everything.
Everything.
I want to go to the picnic or I want to go to the barbecue to hang out with my friends and with my family. That's what I
Mm.
want to go. So I'm going for the fellowship and for the fun. I'm not just going for the food. And you
Yeah.
notice how some people will say, "Oh my goodness, well, ew, that was nasty." And so, yeah, so you didn't have a good time with your family and friends just because the potato salad had celery in it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? People
Yeah.
people tend to put so much emphasis on
Yeah.
on the food instead of
Right.
the reason why we were getting together to hang
Yeah.
out, to play
Yeah.
cards, the the laugh and the joke and cut up. We weren't just going to eat because we eat every day.
Right.
Whether we all together or not, we're gonna eat. The one
Hmm.
thing we definitely gonna do.
Right.
So, it's a matter of changing that mindset too, of saying that, it's not just about the food, it's about the fun and the
Right.
fellowship as well. But if there are going to be triggers there are going to be things that are going to be, then let me bring something that I can eat so that way I'm not feeling like I'm stuck just eating what's there by default.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of situations now where people are vegan or vegetarian and then they come with this expectation, and then the people who are hosting the events feel pressured to try to please everybody. You
Yeah.
can't. Some people, like you said, are lactose intolerant and have things like that, so bring what you can eat.
You bring what you can eat.
Bring
Yeah.
what you can eat and not feel like you obligate, or you're making that person feel like, oh well,
Mm.
you didn't make anything that I can eat, so now I got to sit in the corner and starve. No, you that's a choice. You didn't have to
Choice.
starve. You didn't have to
Yes.
starve. You can bring something. So I think it's important that we change our mindset that way too. Sometimes we put so much expectation on people to satisfy the things that we need instead of putting that pressure on ourselves.
Yes.
If you know that what you eat is specific and unique, then bring what you need.
Right.
So
Right.
you're not making somebody else responsible for your health when the person who's responsible for your health is you.
Right.
You know? So it's a lot. It's a
Yes.
lot. But I like that you said that mindset, meals, and movement.
Hmm.
Those things are critical.
And people got to realize, and this is another thing my sister realized most, and I was glad to hear her say that because a lot of people, they see I've been working out for many, many years. But people got to realize that movement part, that exercise part, that helps you with your mindset and mental status. It relieves the stress,
Yes.
and it's your time of the day that you're working on yourself. Anything you're dealing with, I find it help. Or
Yes.
anything that you enjoy doing, take an hour, take time out to just relax and wind down, and she realized exercise, that's why she go the most. Not
Hmm.
just because it helped her dealing with stuff from work, dealing with the kids. She find out, and I can just tell people that for years, that it helps me mentally to
Yes.
work out,
Yes.
and I just loved it over the years. But I used to hear Coach Prime, and people don't understand it helps in so many areas of your life. But Coach
Yes.
Prime used to say, if you look good, you feel good. If you
Right.
feel good, you play good, and if you play good, you get paid good. So it all works because you're more confident in everything else,
Right.
your performance.
Yes.
Everything works well. And then once we get working all our lives, we eat to live. We don't live to eat,
Right.
and we work to live. We don't. I mean,
Live to
you
work.
don't
Right.
just live to work. You know what I'm saying? So you got to enjoy life. So we're not working all these years to retire and something happen, or we not mobile. So it's so
Right.
important to get into all this stuff now and be more. Where it can help you. down the line. And like what I'm sharing with people, the more we increase protein in our activity and you stay strong, you need strength just to stand up and sit down. Are you standing up out of a chair? You need an armrest, or can you just stand up on your own power? That's why a lot of people, when they falling now at the older age, it's not long they pass away, because they stop, So all these things are important to do now and start learning about it, and life could really get better, as we learn these things.
Right, because like you said, it's about the fellowship too. That we mentioned Danielle. I guess shout out to Danielle Cunningham. She's a person who I met many years ago, and she used to be my instructor when I would go to to Kaiser and do exercise. And it's wonderful because like you said, like-minded people. You want to be around people who have similar goals and similar interests. Just like when we go to a museum or just like when we go to any place else, we're looking for like-minded people. So it's important for us to find like-minded people who are on a wellness journey too, who can support us and help to hold us accountable, for the things that we're seeking to do. So it's wonderful to have community like that as well. Just like we look for community in other things that we're doing, look for community in people who are on that wellness journey, who are looking to meet certain fitness goals, because then you can come together as a collective. I'm sure that they do that when they come to your facility, or when you talk about Bayou Boys Fitness and just how we're coming together with a common goal. We may have a similar why. And so we're taking time to come together so that way we're building that community. And those be the people, that you say, hey, well, maybe you can't be around your family for the holidays. Maybe you could be around your gym buddies or be around your friends who are on that fitness journey too. And y'all can come together and create new experiences and a new way of celebrating things that are going to be outside of just that focus around food. But we can focus around movement. Let's get together on the 4th of July, just like people here in Georgia, they have the Peachtree Road Race. When do they do it? On the 4th of July. So there were a whole lot of people out there running the race. And that's what they chose to do. They chose to move their bodies before they started talking about shoveling, hot dogs and hamburgers down their throat. They decided to put that body in motion. So it's like you said, it's a matter of changing your mindset about what holidays and things like that look like, what food and what it does to our body, what that looks like for us. And that comes from education. It comes from education and being smart about our meals, right?
That's right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So like I said, when you developed Bayou Boys Fitness, you said that came about from people who were just coming and asking you fitness questions or asking you about some of the things that they saw. They saw your body changing and just kind of like, hey, what are you doing? And so tell me a little bit about Bayou Boys Fitness.
So it's a brand that I started. I do a lot of online coaching, on Instagram under Gary Osmond, and under Bayou Boy Fitness. I also got a Bayou Boy Fitness group, on Facebook that I started, and it got thousands of members. That stuff I post, a lot of workout activities. I get people. It's an accountability place too, where people, because social media is a platform that you can reach out to different people. It just don't have to be. And COVID taught me a lot about that too. COVID, we all had to shift. All the gyms shut down. So, if you're not innovative or evolving, you got to find other ways, and helping so many people all around the world. Just sharing information, educating them, celebrating, the victories, and a place for accountability where you're showing exercise, showing people what to do. Not everybody have gym membership, and then food choices, and I have an R3 plan that I give people that kind of help them with that food guidance and stuff like that. Teaching
and it's
them
for men and women, or is it just for men?
Men and women, also kids.
Awesome.
A lot of kids need help. I just had help with one of my cousins gain weight about 80 pounds. They're getting ready to go to college. And some of these kids now, even adolescents, on medication. So we got to change even our kids. today to educate them. I'm doing the Stop the Violence camp this weekend. Every year I go and put them through exercises, and I go into schools and and do those kind of things too.
Awesome, awesome. So like I say, you're doing big things with the Bayou Boys
Yeah,
Fitness and helping people to get on the path. And so you said that they can reach you through your Facebook page,
yeah.
uh and also through Instagram.
Instagram, yeah.
Okay,
Under
under
my name, Gary Osmond, and
okay.
they should find Bayou Boy Fitness.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome. All right. So what we'll do is make sure that we put that in the in the information when we
hmm,
launch our episodes that people know how to get in contact with you
yeah,
and make sure that they're getting on that wellness plan and getting on that journey towards changing their mindset. Again, mindset, meals, and movement. Those things are huge. Those things are huge. So I said with that, I want to say thank you for coming and talking about mindset and talking about the importance of fitness and health and making sure that we're taking time to you know to take small steps first and before we get to the point where we can see those changes coming up. It's
yeah,
important that we take the time to think about the things that are going into our mouth, that we're thinking about the people that are around us and the things that they're saying, and are they helping to encourage us, or are they discouraging us from reaching our goals? But more importantly, what is our why? So with that,
yeah, yeah.
tell me, what is an important step that people can take if they're looking into starting their wellness journey?
Important step. Like I say, the most important step is like I say once again the mindset. Just being committed. Have a why. Have a strong reason why you want to get started. What is it? Is a wedding coming up or a health change you're trying to make or whatever it is, and just get started because you don't have to be perfect to get started, but you got to start. To
Right.
get perfect and just make those moves and we all could come together and help each other and educate each other or reach out to someone that you see having success, and just like Danielle, it, have the group. I appreciate you for finding value in what I was saying
Yeah.
and reaching out to me right after. And now we get to do this,
Right.
because I think as we come together, we can help each other. I don't care
Right.
if it's one person, you know,
Right.
we can't help each other. I know I can help a lot of people change, if they want to change.
That's it. That's it. So again, find your why. That's
Yeah.
what's critical. Okay, now before we head out, I always ask my guests, how are you living in the now? What are you doing to navigate in the space that we're in this season that we're in?
I'm just moving about. This going into schools and educate. I just want to help give back. I always believe in giving your time, talent, and treasure. You know,
Yes,
but you got
that's
to
right.
be able to give back too. So that's the way
Yes,
I'm moving now, and just want to help a lot of people. As I continue to help myself. This is what
yes,
helps me. So this is how I'm
that's it.
moving from this day forward. Continue to network and reach out and want to impact many lives
Many
as I
lives.
continue to
Okay.
evolve myself.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Gary, thank you so much for being with me, for sharing this space and time with me. I so appreciate that. Again, it's Bayou Boy Fitness. We'll have information about how you can reach out to him in once the episode airs. And now, Gary, you are officially part of the How Now family. You're always welcome to come back on the show and talk about
Right.
things that are happening in your now, because what's happening right now may not
Yeah.
be what's happening 2 minutes, 2 hours,
Yeah.
2 months, 2 weeks, or 2 years from now. So you're always welcome to come back and tell us what's going on in your now. All right.
Okay. Thanks for having me.
All right. All right. It's been my pleasure. Okay. And that will do it for this edition of the How Now podcast, where we talk about how to live in the now. And until we see you all the next time, we will say peace.
Be blessed.